Love, this is a topic that each of us has experienced at least once, but do you really understand it? Why are some relationships so strong, while others fall apart easily? Why do so many men fail in love? It's not because they aren't attractive enough, wealthy enough, or charming enough, it's because they chase. Chasing communicates neediness, and neediness kills desire. Yet the men who seem to hold quiet influence over women are rarely the ones pursuing. They are the ones living fully, grounded in self-mastery, and free from desperation. This is where the ancient philosophy of Stoicism offers a radical solution. By mastering yourself instead of chasing others, you create a magnetic presence that draws women naturally, without force, without games, and without fear. Welcome to the channel, Stoic Love Wisdom. This is where you will find valuable lessons and tips to help you build a truly lasting love. In today's video, we will explore how men can be strong and attractive in love without chasing, with real stories and insight. Don't miss the advice that can change the way you perceive and live in love. You will definitely feel more comfortable when you find a quiet place and put on your headphones. Let yourself relax and be ready to receive the positive messages in today's video. Are you ready to start this journey? Let's start together. Number 1, Stoicism and why attraction doesn't come from chasing. In today's dating culture, especially in the United States, the image of men constantly chasing women has been normalized. Movies, TV shows, and even TikTok often reinforce the narrative that a man's role is to pursue, convince, or even wear down a woman until she finally says yes. Men are told to call frequently, send endless texts, buy flowers, plan elaborate dates, or craft witty lines, all in the hope of proving themselves worthy of attention. But here's the paradox: the harder a man tries to chase approval, the less attractive he usually becomes. Why? Because chasing often communicates the opposite of what women are naturally drawn to. It signals insecurity, a lack of direction, and a dependence on external validation. Instead of appearing strong, composed, and confident, the chaser often comes across as needy, anxious, and unsure of himself. Stoicism, a philosophy that originated in Greece and flourished in Rome, offers a radically different perspective. Rather than teaching us how to manipulate others or how to play the game of dating, Stoicism emphasizes mastery of the self, our emotions, our thoughts, our choices, and our values. Applied to love, this means that true attraction doesn't arise from desperate pursuit but from inner strength, composure, and living in alignment with one's principles. Think about the men who are most admired in everyday life. They're rarely the ones begging for attention. Instead, they're the men who carry themselves with quiet confidence, who are focused on meaningful goals, and who don't let their sense of worth rise and fall with someone else's opinion. These men don't need to chase, because they already embody qualities that naturally draw others toward them. Their value isn't something they're trying to prove, it's something they live out daily. The central question, then, becomes this: what makes the difference between a man who must exhaust himself to get noticed, and a man who seems effortlessly magnetic? The answer lies not in tricks, tactics, or playing hard to get. It lies in a philosophical shift, a shift that Stoicism has been teaching for over 2,000 years. Number 2. The core principles of Stoicism in love. At the heart of Stoicism is a deceptively simple idea: some things are within our control, and some are not. The more energy we spend trying to control what is outside our power, the more anxious, frustrated, and unattractive we become. When applied to relationships, this insight becomes a game changer. Here are 3 Stoic principles that directly transform how men approach love and attraction. 1. Control versus no control. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Some things are up to us, and some things are not." In love, what's up to you is how you present yourself, how you live your life, and how you choose to treat others. What's not up to you is how a woman feels about you, how she reacts, or whether she wants to be with you. Many men fall into the trap of trying to force affection or convince someone to love them, a futile battle against what Stoicism identifies as uncontrollable. The wiser path is to focus entirely on what is in your control, your discipline, your composure, your growth. 2. Amor fati, loving your fate. One of the most beautiful Stoic concepts is amor fati, or love of one's fate. Rather than fearing rejection or obsessing over outcomes, the Stoic man embraces whatever happens as part of his path. If a woman reciprocates his feelings, he accepts it with gratitude. If she doesn't, he accepts it with dignity. This detachment is not coldness, it is strength. Ironically, it is often this strength, this refusal to cling or beg, that makes him more appealing. 3. Virtue as the highest standard. Marcus Aurelius, Rome's philosopher-emperor, wrote that virtue is its own reward. For a man, this means that his worth is not measured by how many women admire him, but by how closely he lives according to courage, justice, wisdom, and self-control. When a man grounds himself in virtue, he no longer seeks external validation as the foundation of his confidence. Instead, he radiates integrity and calm, qualities that naturally inspire respect and attraction. Together, these principles reshape the way men engage with love. When you stop wasting energy on what you cannot control and instead invest in building strength of character, you gain a kind of power that is not about dominance or manipulation. It is the power of inner freedom. It is the ability to walk into any relationship, or walk away, without losing yourself. And that, paradoxically, is the very thing that makes you most desirable. Number 3. Self-mastery as the foundation of masculine attraction. When people talk about attraction, they often reduce it to surface-level traits, looks, wealth, charisma, or status. But while these factors can catch attention, they rarely sustain genuine attraction. What truly sustains respect and desire, especially in mature relationships, is self-mastery, the ability to govern one's emotions, impulses, and reactions. And this is where Stoicism becomes a man's most powerful ally. Stoicism teaches that our emotions are not dictators but signals. A Stoic man doesn't deny that he feels jealousy, anger, or sadness. He acknowledges these emotions without being ruled by them. Picture the difference. One man, when his girlfriend doesn't text back right away, spirals into insecurity, sending 3 follow-up messages and checking her social media obsessively. Another man notices the discomfort rising in himself, takes a breath, reflects, and chooses not to act out of fear. Who comes across as stronger, more attractive, and more trustworthy? Clearly, the man who practices self-control. This isn't about being emotionless. It's about not letting emotions dictate your behavior. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. A man who internalizes this wisdom becomes emotionally steady, not tossed about by every wave of doubt or desire. That steadiness radiates calm confidence, which women intuitively recognize as masculine strength. In the American dating scene, many men unintentionally sabotage themselves by reacting impulsively. They get angry at small slights, jealous over harmless interactions, or devastated when things don't go their way. This volatility makes them unreliable partners. Women want a man who can remain grounded under pressure, who can offer stability rather than chaos. Stoicism trains men to pause before reacting, to insert a moment of reflection between stimulus and response. This simple practice can be transformative. Self-mastery also applies to lifestyle choices. A man who can discipline himself to maintain his health, pursue meaningful work, and resist distractions demonstrates through his actions that he is in charge of his life. He does not need external validation to feel whole. This independence makes him far more attractive than the man who constantly seeks approval or indulgence. At its core, self-mastery is about freedom, the freedom not to be enslaved by anger, lust, or insecurity. And when a man is free within himself, he cannot be easily manipulated, nor does he feel desperate to chase. Instead, he becomes someone others naturally gravitate toward, drawn to the quiet power of a man who owns himself. Number 4. Letting go of the craving for validation. One of the most common traps men fall into is basing their self-worth on whether a woman accepts or rejects them. From high school crushes to adult relationships, many men learn to measure their value by external approval. Does she text me back quickly? Did she smile at me? Does she want to go on another date? Their confidence rises and falls with every little signal. Stoicism challenges this dependency at its root. It teaches that our worth is not up for negotiation in the marketplace of opinions. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." In other words, stop worrying so much about what others think. When applied to love, this principle is liberating. You are not defined by whether one woman, or even many women, happen to find you attractive. You are defined by how faithfully you live in accordance with your values. When a man is enslaved by the need for validation, he behaves in ways that undermine his own attractiveness. He compromises his boundaries, overinvests too soon, and tolerates disrespect, all for the hope of being chosen. Women sense this desperation and instinctively pull away. No one is drawn to someone who communicates, consciously or not, "Please tell me I'm enough." By contrast, when a man releases this craving for validation, he reclaims his power. He no longer asks, "Does she like me?" but instead asks, "Am I living with integrity? Am I proud of how I'm showing up?" This shift flips the script. Instead of chasing approval, he evaluates whether the connection aligns with his standards and vision for life. That subtle but profound change is often the very thing that makes him irresistible. The American dating culture, with its emphasis on swipe culture and constant comparison, can intensify this hunger for approval. Apps reduce human connection to a numbers game, likes, matches, swipes. Men who buy into this system begin to see themselves as commodities, competing for attention. Stoicism offers an antidote: step out of the game. Define yourself not by external signals but by internal virtues: courage, wisdom, justice, self-control. Ironically, when you stop seeking validation, you often receive more of it. Why? Because independence is magnetic. Women are drawn to men who seem grounded, who give without grasping, who don't hinge their self-worth on every interaction. This doesn't mean being arrogant or indifferent, it means standing firm in your value regardless of external opinions. Letting go of the craving for validation is one of the hardest but most transformative Stoic practices a man can adopt. It is the bridge from neediness to self-respect, from chasing approval to embodying quiet strength. And once a man crosses that bridge, he no longer asks how to get attention, because attention naturally flows to those who no longer need it. In love, sometimes we don't need too many promises, but just a little understanding and a heart that knows how to listen. It is the experiences, both happy and sad, that help us mature and know how to love more fully. Here, I want to contemplate those things with you, so that each step in the journey of love becomes more clear-headed and peaceful. If you feel that what I share is valuable, please click like to support this video. And if this is your first visit, please click subscribe and turn on the notification bell, so you don't miss the next insightful perspectives on love. I also really want to hear from you. What do you like most about today's story? Leave a comment below, because who knows, your experience might be a great source of encouragement for someone else who is listening. And now, let's continue with me, exploring what's waiting ahead. Number 5. Becoming the man who doesn't need to chase. Not chasing doesn't mean being cold, arrogant, or playing games. It means becoming the kind of man whose life is already rich with purpose and direction, so much so that he doesn't feel the need to beg for attention. The man who chases communicates lack. He signals that he needs someone else to feel complete. But the man who doesn't chase radiates abundance. He knows that while love is valuable, it is not his entire identity. His time is filled with growth, friendships, work he cares about, and passions that energize him. This doesn't make him less interested in women, it makes him more attractive. Women are naturally drawn to men who have momentum in life, who seem to be going somewhere. As author David Data once wrote, a man's purpose must come before his relationship. Not because relationships don't matter, but because a man without direction easily becomes dependent. The Stoic perspective reinforces this. A Stoic man lives by principles, not by the whims of desire. He doesn't ask, how can I get her to like me? He asks, am I living in alignment with my values? That orientation gives him quiet authority. He can give love freely, but he can also walk away without losing himself. And paradoxically, this freedom often makes women want to stay. The man who doesn't need to chase is not careless. He shows interest, respect, and presence. But he does so without fear of loss, because his center of gravity is inside himself, not in someone else's approval. Number 6. Building inner strength through Stoic habits. Stoicism is not just theory, it's a practice. A man becomes grounded not by reading quotes, but by training his mind and habits every day. Several Stoic exercises are especially powerful for men in relationships. Journaling, writing down your thoughts each morning and evening, helps you reflect on what you did well, where you slipped, and how to live better tomorrow. This keeps you aligned with your values, not external noise. Negative visualization, imagine losing what you value, your partner, your job, your comfort. This is not to depress you but to free you. By facing loss mentally, you reduce fear and clinginess in real life. Voluntary discomfort, do something hard on purpose, cold showers, fasting, intense workouts. These practices train resilience, making you less dependent on comfort and more capable under stress. Mindfulness and meditation, modern tools, fully compatible with Stoicism, that cultivate awareness. They allow you to observe emotions without being ruled by them. For men in the US, where dating often feels like a high-pressure competition, these habits provide balance. They help you detach from constant validation seeking and instead focus on building real strength, strength that women can feel. When you cultivate these practices, you stop being a man who chases because you no longer feel incomplete. You become a man who offers love from a place of wholeness, not need. That shift is the difference between fragile attraction and lasting respect. Number 7. Relationships and personal freedom. Stoicism teaches that the only thing you truly control is your own mind. Everything else, fate, fortune, even the people closest to you, remains outside your ultimate authority. Applied to relationships, this perspective reshapes how a man experiences love. Instead of seeing a partner as someone to possess, a Stoic man sees her as a free individual whose presence is a gift, not an entitlement. This mindset creates space for one of the most attractive qualities a man can bring into a relationship: personal freedom. Many relationships collapse under insecurity because one or both partners try to control the other. They police texts, track whereabouts, or demand constant reassurance. Far from strengthening love, this suffocates it. Women especially feel repelled when a man's affection turns into surveillance. The Stoic man avoids this trap because he does not confuse love with ownership. He loves deeply, but he never forgets that his partner is free. If she stays, it's because she chooses to, not because he clings or cages her. This voluntary bond is far stronger than any forced attachment. It makes the relationship lighter, more genuine, and more resilient. And paradoxically, giving freedom often increases attraction. Women respect and trust men who don't try to control them. A man secure in himself can encourage his partner's individuality, knowing it doesn't threaten his own worth. He supports her ambitions, friendships, and independence, because he is not terrified of losing her. His stability allows her to relax into the relationship rather than resist it. In modern American culture, where independence is highly valued, this dynamic is especially powerful. People want partners who can complement their lives, not consume them. The Stoic man embodies this by maintaining his own direction, hobbies, and friendships while also being fully present with his partner. He demonstrates that love can coexist with freedom, and that respect is the glue that holds them together. To live this way is to turn love into a choice renewed daily, not an obligation enforced by fear. And in that choice lies the quiet power of attraction. Women are drawn to the man who doesn't need to control, because his love feels safe, steady, and free. Number 8. Overcoming the fear of loss. At the root of chasing lies fear. Men chase because they're afraid of rejection, afraid of abandonment, afraid of being alone. Fear makes them send too many texts, agree to things they don't want, or invest emotionally before trust is earned. But ironically, it is this very fear that makes them less desirable. Stoicism tackles fear of loss directly. Every Stoic text reminds us that all external things are temporary: health, wealth, reputation, and yes, even relationships. Marcus Aurelius wrote daily reminders that his loved ones could be gone tomorrow. Epictetus bluntly stated, "When you kiss your child, say to yourself, tomorrow he may die." While this may sound grim, the effect is liberating. If you accept that everything can be lost, you stop clinging to it as if loss were unthinkable. Applied to love, this principle changes everything. A Stoic man acknowledges that a relationship may end. He doesn't live in denial or anxiety. Instead, he chooses to love fully in the present moment, knowing tomorrow is never guaranteed. This acceptance doesn't make him cold, it makes him more appreciative. He values his partner without becoming enslaved by fear of losing her. This courage to face loss has a magnetic effect. Women instinctively sense when a man is terrified of losing them, and it feels heavy, suffocating, even desperate. But when a man is calm, secure, and unafraid of rejection, his presence feels light and confident. He doesn't cling because he knows he'll be okay regardless. And paradoxically, this very detachment often inspires loyalty. In modern dating, where ghosting and rejection are common, resilience becomes a rare and attractive trait. Most men crumble after a single setback. The Stoic man reframes it as life's natural flow. This was not mine to control, he tells himself. He learns, grows, and moves on with dignity. That ability to withstand disappointment without bitterness is powerful. Ultimately, freedom from the fear of loss liberates men from chasing. Because when you are not terrified of being without someone, you can choose relationships out of genuine desire, not desperation. And this calm courage, the willingness to let go, is often the very reason others want to stay. Number 9. Living for a purpose beyond love. One of the greatest mistakes men make in relationships is making romance the center of their universe. When a man builds his entire identity around a woman, he inevitably becomes dependent on her attention. His moods rise and fall with her approval, and he sacrifices his direction in life to maintain the relationship. While this may feel romantic at first, over time it becomes suffocating, for him and for her. Stoicism offers a corrective: live for something larger than yourself. The Stoics taught that the highest good is virtue, courage, justice, wisdom, and self-control, and that life should be oriented around living in harmony with these principles. For a modern man, this means pursuing a mission, a vision, or a calling that extends beyond personal pleasure. When a man has a clear sense of purpose, love finds its proper place. It becomes a meaningful addition to his life, not the sole definition of it. This makes him far more attractive. A man who knows where he is going exudes a natural magnetism. He doesn't need to chase because his life already has momentum. Women don't want to be the sole focus of a man's world, they want to join a man whose world is already rich, meaningful, and in motion. This is especially relevant in American culture, where many men feel adrift. Without a strong sense of mission, they look to relationships to provide meaning, and end up clinging too tightly. But when a man has direction, whether in career, creativity, service, or personal growth, he becomes grounded. He is less reactive to the ups and downs of dating, and more resilient when challenges arise. Purpose also provides stability during heartbreak. A man who has placed all meaning in love crumbles when the relationship ends. But a Stoic man anchored in purpose can grieve without losing himself. His mission remains, giving him the strength to keep moving forward. In the end, attraction flows not from dependency but from independence. The man who lives for something greater than love offers more to love itself. He brings depth, clarity, and energy into the relationship because he is already fulfilled. As the Stoics would remind us, happiness is not found in chasing pleasure but in living with purpose. And nothing is more magnetic than a man who knows exactly why he is here. Number 10, true power is inner freedom. If there is one lesson Stoicism offers men in love, it is this: real power does not come from controlling others, it comes from mastering yourself. Chasing women, begging for attention, and building your identity around someone else's approval is a recipe for weakness. But cultivating self-mastery, letting go of validation, living with freedom, and embracing purpose creates a kind of authority that cannot be faked. The man who embodies Stoic principles is attractive not because he plays games, but because he doesn't need to. His calmness in the face of rejection shows strength. His independence signals abundance. His purpose-driven life gives him direction. And his ability to love without clinging makes him both safe and exciting to be around. This is the paradox of Stoicism in relationships: the less you chase, the more you attract. Not because you are manipulating anyone, but because you are living from a place of wholeness. Women are not drawn to desperation, they are drawn to men who stand firm in themselves. And Stoicism trains you to be that man, not through tricks or tactics, but through daily discipline, reflection, and courage. For men in the US navigating a dating culture filled with noise, apps, and mixed signals, Stoicism offers clarity. It reminds you to focus on what you can control. Your thoughts, your actions, your virtues. And to release what you cannot, another person's choices, feelings, or commitment. That release is not weakness, it is freedom. Ultimately, the power men seek in love is not about dominance, conquest, or games. It is about freedom from fear, freedom from neediness, freedom from being defined by external opinions. And when you possess that freedom, you become the kind of man who doesn't have to chase, because what is truly yours will naturally come to you, and what isn't was never yours to hold. Conclusion. At its heart, the Stoic approach to love and attraction reminds men of a timeless truth: you do not win respect, affection, or loyalty by chasing them. Chasing is rooted in fear, fear of rejection, fear of being alone, fear of not being enough. And fear repels. What draws others in is strength, calm, and the quiet confidence of a man who knows who he is, regardless of who stands beside him. The Stoics taught that life's only true domain is within the self, your choices, your discipline, your virtue. Everything else, including another person's affection, lies beyond your control. When you finally accept this, something profound happens: you stop clinging. You stop begging. You stop making your worth dependent on anyone's opinion. And paradoxically, that is when you become most attractive. A Stoic man builds his life around purpose, not pursuit. He cultivates habits of discipline, practices resilience in the face of loss, and refuses to be enslaved by the hunger for validation. He does not see love as possession, but as partnership freely chosen. And because he does not need to control, he is free to love more fully, more generously, and more authentically. For men in today's culture, this philosophy is not just ancient wisdom, it is a lifeline. In a world of constant comparison, instant gratification, and fragile egos, Stoicism offers clarity: focus on what you can control, let go of what you cannot, and live with integrity. Do this, and you will no longer ask how to gain power over women. You will realize you already hold the only power that matters, the power over yourself. And from that freedom, genuine attraction flows naturally, without chasing. Thank you for taking the time to watch today's video. Hopefully the sharing about love and lessons from this video will help you have new thoughts and find empathy. If you find the video useful, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel and share with those around you. Each of us has our own stories about love, and I'm happy to explore them with you. See you in the next videos. Wishing you a wonderful day filled with love.